Unless you're in the middle of nowhere you have to work during vacation, your salary. I work for a small company in the trades as head of the IT department, aka the only IT person. Truthfully, the gig is pretty great. Good pay, benefits, and I can come and go as I please within reason. The two people I have to answer to are the VP and CEO, and as is PAR for the course they know dick all about anything to do with technology and generally leave me be as I'm good at my job and everything runs smoothly. Being a small company, a lot of us don't take vacations due to A, building the company, and B, not having replacements for the time we're gone, but after 2 years vacationless. We're in the US. My wife convinces me to use the time I'm given to decompress and take a small, 1 week, getaway. I talk to VP and he gives me the thumbs up to take the time, barring I get everything in order and do some minor teaching to other staff in case of an emergency. Cool, easy. Enter FOD, Field Operations Director, a man who is an attack dog for the VP for no reason, as the VP is nothing but polite and reasonable. FOD loves giving everyone a hard time, adding steps to tasks to make himself look like he's part of the process, reminding everyone how much of a boss he is to the rest of us in management, and calling me a nerd any chance he gets. Fair to say, I dislike FOD immensely. After making my rounds with other staff, it's FOD's time to do some scary computer-related learning. FOD refuses to look weak under any circumstances and gets very aggressive when learning new things because I'm the boss, I already know. In the midst of learning, it dawns on him to ask why he has to learn this stuff anyway. I'm the nerd and it's my job to do this. I clue him in on the week I'm taking off, and this stuff is just precautionary. This worries FOD as he'll have to retain information, answer questions, and do some minor troubleshooting. The conversation went something like this, and I wish I could tell you that this guy isn't this much of a jerk, but he is. FOD equals boss. Me equals me. FOD, who approved your vacation? Me, VP did, as long as I could get you guys comfortable with some small maintenance. FOD, I only approve vacation time, I'm your boss. Side note, he does this so much that VP actually wrote out the hierarchy in chart form, and we all carry a digital copy with us to remind him who he's actually in charge of. Me, you're not. Shows chart. FOD, well fine. But you are salary, so you have to work during your vacation. You'll bring your laptop and work phone with you. Me, when you vacation, you make it very clear you're unreachable and can't be bothered even if it's an emergency. FOD, that's because I go to places without service, and unless you're going to the mountains you have to work. Your salary. Malicious compliance initiated me. Just to be clear, if I go to a place without service I won't be expected to work. Yeah, FOD, that's right, but you're a nerd, you don't do anything outdoors. Me, great, thanks for clearing that up. Fast forward 3 weeks later and it's vacation time. All my ducks are in a row, people are comfortable with me being gone for the week and are all encouraging me to just disconnect. A close co-worker of mine knows of the conversation FOD and I had and asks what I plan to do about it, so I shared my easy but effective plan. 1. Wife and I rented a cabin in the woods, 2 hours from the nearest town, and it doesn't have service. 2. Set up automatic email replies that have all IT questions and concerns forwarded to FOD since he's the boss, he knows. 3. Leave work phone on the charger in my office with ringer on, door locked so he has to hear it, and voicemail changed to have FOD become IT for the week. Co-worker loves the idea of flooding FOD with questions he can't answer so much that he gets other co-workers in on it. Midway through the week I get a call from co-worker with an update. FOD loses it. He can't keep up with any requests for help and didn't bother to memorize the simple tasks I showed him, so he does what any good boss does and puts in a request to take a vacation until I get back. Retreat is always an option. Nothing screams leader more than retreat. It's not weakness and failure if he's not there. My co-workers were able to manage and FOD got his 3-day vacation. Unfortunately, after the week off I'm called to VP's office to catch up and get things back on track. VP obviously heard of the hardships FOD faced in my absence and laughed at my MC surprisingly. VP struck a deal with me moving forward since it was made clear to him no one else knew how to do my job. I can go on vacation wherever I'd like as long as I bring my laptop and phone and check it once a week. They'll refund my vacation time for that day even if I only work for 5 minutes. I took that, but with the caveat of making FOD actually learn some of my duties just in case. VP agreed. Now I do an hour of teaching a week to a very surly FOD. After all, he's the boss. He's gotten no TLDR, guy who thinks he's my boss gives me grief for using vacation time. Insists I work even when on vacation. I point out he doesn't do the same. His reasoning is because he goes to places where there is no cell service or internet. I use his logic and become unreachable, leaving him with fielding all IT-related issues for a week. Now to the comments. Awesome, and you even ended up in a way better place than you began with, regarding your vacations. And see what happens when you're not a dick about things. Staff wants to help you out and are willing to do a bit extra if the boss is fair and reasonable. If the boss is fair and reasonable. Word of advice as one IT professional to another: if you're showing FOD parts of your job every week, once he feels comfortable doing small tasks he's going to complain about why do they even need you. Great story though. OP replied. I anticipated that, as which is why he gets small pieces to make him feel important while I get the satisfaction of annoying him. I appreciate the concern nonetheless. When nothing works, why the duck do we pay an IT guy? When everything works perfectly, why the duck do we pay an IT guy? They'll refund my vacation time for that day even if I only work for 5 minutes. Dang right they will. That's a serious violation of labor laws in the US. OP replied. It makes them feel like they're doing me a favor, which they aren't, but hey, I like the company and I'll compromise. All the same, get this in writing. It is so strange that you can go for 2 years without vacation. We have 20 days and at least 2 weeks of it unbroken by law, and companies give even much more. Rested people perform much better than overworked. OP replied. I agree with that completely. Unfortunately, not working here is seen as being lazy, especially in the construction industry. They give you the time but chastise you for using it. It's very silly. After 2 years I was given 10 days time. At 5 years I'll be given another 15 days paid off total after 5 years served. It's exhausting. That's insane. I have 22, vacation and personal days combined, beginning day 1. After 2 years, it goes to 25, then keeps going up to a total of 35. Yes, I'm in the US. If you went somewhere without service, how did you get a call from your coworker? OP replied. We went into town at a point in the vacation. Going without technology is more maddening than we expected. Congratulations, you maliciously complied yourself. LOL. 2 years without a holiday and then you only get a week, WTF. I feel bad for you. I think if I didn't have my holidays, 28 plus public holidays and most of Christmas, I would go insane. OP replied. Please cousins, send help. This is not the time to bully the nerds. We know how your phones and computers work and how to make them not work. Even better when there's only one, because if they have more than one thing to do, you may end up on the bottom of the list. If I was in the position, I'd do it too. OP replied. This guy, or lady guy, gets it? I can be the most chilled out guy, or the biggest asshole. My response is based on the other person, and I have gotten good at being those two people at the same time. It makes a huge difference when you have a good team. Very nice malicious compliance, but a question please. How many people in the US don't take leave from salaried jobs? I'm from the UK and I've never had a job where I got less than 25 days plus bank holidays. I must admit I am lucky at the moment in that my current IT job gives 35 days and the sector I work in means I have to have at least one unbroken 2-week break a year. I couldn't imagine not having leave unless I worked for myself and got all the benefits of being my own boss instead. Edit. Bloody hell guys, take your holiday. Work to live, not the other way round. You have one life, so ducking enjoy it. Not wanting to sound facetious, but the US sounds like the land of the free. Some restrictions to freedom apply. In the UK 28 days is the legal minimum amount of leave, but if you get the 8 bank holidays off, those can count towards that number. 25 days plus the 8 bank holidays is very common. There are 8 bank holidays a year when most government offices and most businesses close, half of them on Mondays, so people can have long weekends. In the EU, 20 days is the legal minimum, though some countries, like the UK, have higher limits. I remember a telephone interview for a job with a US company. The HR lady in the States was telling me about how amazingly wonderful the leave package was, at 28 days including bank holidays. I was like, okay, so you only provide the legal minimum of leave. That's disappointing. There's a huge cultural difference there. OP replied. Welcome to the US, where companies are only required to do the bare minimum.